My beloved child, this is the hour when I want you to be fully awakened, not just with your physical eyes, but with the eyes of your spirit, so you may recognize the truth that now surrounds your life. You may have walked through ordinary days, living in the rhythm of what appeared to be stability. But now I speak. Do not let your spirit slumber any longer. For tomorrow, a spiritual battle shall rise. And this battle is neither trivial nor vague, it is real. And it draws closer than you realize. The enemy walks silently around you like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour, 1 Peter 5-8. But I am the one who has foreseen, who knows all things. And today, I speak that you might be prepared. You have been placed on a path that my own hand drew before the foundation of the world. This path is no accident, but a mission woven with life, truth, and hope for those whom I have called. Yet you must understand this: whatever originates from me is resisted by the enemy. He does not want you to step into the fullness I have ordained. He does not want you to walk in the purpose and divine power I have placed within your soul. He will do everything to make you doubt, lose direction, and become weary, until you yourself are tempted to let go. My child, be awake. Do not think battles are mere misfortunes of life. Every storm, every criticism, every moment of mental weariness could be a fiery arrow aimed at you by the enemy. But I do not say this to alarm you. I say this so that you understand you do not fight alone. I walk with you. I have dispatched my angels to surround you. I have clothed you in spiritual armor, and my word is a double-edged sword, sharper than any weapon the enemy could imagine. I do not love you only with emotion. I love you with protection, with strategy, and with the unwavering presence of my being, so that when you stand on the battlefield, you will not tremble in fear, but know that I, the Lord your God, am fighting for you. Tomorrow, the battle may not begin with an explosion, but with a whisper, a sudden thought that causes you to question your worth, a wave of loneliness rising within you, making you feel unseen, a casual word that pierces the deepest part of your soul. These are the enemy's hidden tactics. He need not show up with horns and tail. He merely touches your weak spots with lies cloaked in reasonable disguise. And if you are not awake, you will believe those lies are true. You will think you're not good enough, not strong enough, not holy enough to go on. But I say, those words are not from me. I know your weakness. I know you cannot walk through these battles alone. That is why I gave you my spirit, not as a vague feeling, but as the one who dwells within you, who speaks to you daily, who strengthens you when you feel like collapsing, who reminds you that you are the child of the King of Kings. Do not think you will fail simply because you feel weak. It is when you are weak that my power is made perfect. When you have no strength left, I myself will raise you up with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41:10. My beloved, what I require from you is not perfection, but alertness and willingness. Alertness to discern truth from deception. Willingness to take my hand even when the road ahead is unclear. Willingness to say yes when I call you to rise, even if your knees still tremble, for you were not called to live in fear, but in power, love, and sound mind. 2 Timothy 1-7. I have not abandoned you in battle, and I will not retreat halfway. You are victorious not because you are strong, but because I am within you, and greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. Prepare yourself. My child, tomorrow is not just another day on the calendar. It is a part of my plan, a moment that heaven itself is watching. And I am not seeking perfection in you. I am seeking obedience. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the will to move forward in spite of it. Walk in my light. Walk through the darkness with faith, and you will witness what I have prepared for you, far beyond what you have imagined. Tomorrow, rise, not with clenched fists, but with prayer, not with rage, but with wisdom, not with human strength, but with divine power. Do not underestimate the enemy just because he does not appear before your eyes. He does not come with sword and shield, but with thoughts as thin as smoke. These subtle things are the most dangerous hidden arrows: a cold glance from someone close, a troubling dream in the night, a prophecy that seems to leave your spirit untouched. All of these could be the battlefield the enemy is using to drain your soul with doubt and weariness. Remember this: I have given you a shield no one sees, armor no one comprehends, and strength no one can measure. For it comes from the highest, from me. Every day you walk is a day the battle wages on. Do not wait for explosions or banners to call it war. The battlefield is in your mind, where each thought arises, each emotion surges, each word you choose to believe or reject. The enemy does not need to destroy your life in one blow. He only needs you to surrender. Little by little, he wants you weary enough to stop praying, busy enough to stop listening, anxious enough to forget my word. He doesn't need you to fall today just to slowly drift away from the life I have placed within you. Still, I have given you divine equipment not to adorn your soul, but for real warfare. Truth is the belt that secures you from slander. Righteousness is the breastplate shielding your heart from accusation. The gospel of peace is the footwear that holds you firm when all other ground shakes. Faith is the shield that extinguishes the fiery arrows of the wicked. Salvation is the helmet that guards your thoughts from shame. And the sword of the Spirit is my word, sharp, alive, piercing to the very root of what is real and false. You do not fight empty-handed. You are fully equipped. But you must stay awake to recognize that you wear armor, not let it gather dust in forgetfulness. Tomorrow, the enemy will not come with roars, but with whispers. You're not good enough. God doesn't truly love you. No one understands you. That promise was for someone else, not you. But you must remember, every whisper is a distortion of truth, and your task is not to analyze emotions, but to declare my word. Answer those lies with truth, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made by me, that nothing can separate you from the love of Christ, that I know exactly where you are, and I am still at work, that everything I start, I finish, that you are not forgotten, not pushed aside, not abandoned. Do not let the enemy steal your prayer time. Do not let him rob your peace of mind. Do not let him quietly reroute your life with small, dangerous detours. You do not need to win in your own strength. You only need to stand in faith. Stand in my word. Stand in the truth that I am protecting you, guiding you, and working in every circumstance your eyes have yet to see. Remember what I wrote in Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Do not panic when your faith trembles. Trembling is not failure. It is a sign you are still standing, still fighting, still looking toward me. The enemy wants you to believe you must be flawless, endlessly strong, But I am not looking for perfection. I am looking for a true heart. A heart that hides nothing, that does not pretend, but honestly whispers to me, I'm tired. But I still believe. That prayer shakes heaven. That prayer sends angels. That prayer reminds the enemy that he cannot own a heart that belongs to me. My beloved child, you may not feel like you're winning the battle, but that does not change the truth that I have already won. On the cross, I stripped death of its power, broke the chains of sin, and silenced the accusations of the enemy. You are not fighting for victory, you are fighting from victory. So let peace rise in your heart, not from your circumstances, but from the knowledge that my power is not limited by what you see. Tomorrow, when your eyes open, you are not stepping into a random day. You are stepping into a battlefield. I have already walked before you, and every prayer you speak, every promise you proclaim, every thought you surrender to me is a blow to the kingdom of darkness. You are not small in the spiritual realm. Your name is written in heaven, your identity known among the hosts of angels, and the enemy trembles when he sees you still praying, still believing, still standing strong. My beloved child, now I need you to enter into a deeper awareness, an understanding, not born of intellect alone, but etched into the very depths of your spirit. The enemy never rests, and what he is orchestrating in the shadows are schemes designed to derail the future I have planned for you. Do not assume that the little things happening in your day are mere coincidence. A closed door, someone walking away, a hollow ache you cannot name. These may well be signs that the enemy is trying to slip through the smallest crack, using your confusion to obscure the light I have planted within you. Do you remember that in the Garden of Eden, the devil didn't need to use force? A single question of doubt was enough to shake Eve's trust. Did God really say? It wasn't just a question, it was an arrow aimed directly at the essence of trust. The enemy will not come at you with obvious attacks. He will plant suspicion in your heart quietly, prompting you to question what you once believed. Unchefeld once heard me speak, and when that seed of doubt takes root, if you do not swiftly uproot it with my word, it will bear poisonous fruit: distance, disbelief, and disobedience. My precious one, the most dangerous enemy is not the one shouting outside the door, but the one whispering inside your mind. He disguises himself as your own voice, making you think it's natural worry or rational thought. But remember this, my voice brings peace, life, and hope. My voice never confuses you. So when you hear a whisper that unsettles your soul, discourages your heart, or stirs up fear, test it against my word. Examine every emotion under the light of the Holy Spirit. Remember, even an angel of light can be a deception, 2 Corinthians 11:14. And only spiritual discernment will allow you to see the truth through the mist of lies. Tomorrow, you will step into a series of circumstances that are not random. A door may seem to shut. A person may wound you. A situation may stir you to cry out, Lord, where are you? But I need you to understand this. It is not a sign that I have abandoned you. On the contrary, it is in those very moments that I am sharpening your spiritual eyes to see more clearly. I am teaching you to distinguish the genuine from the false. I am training your hands for battle, not with swords and blades, but with faith and divine perception. I do not place you in safety to breed spiritual laziness. I set you on the battlefield to awaken the warrior inside of you. You are not called to live in a defensive posture forever. You are called to take ground, to extend the reach of my kingdom, and to strike fear into the enemy's heart when you open your mouth in prayer. That is why he trembles when you are awakened. He doesn't fear that you have the right doctrine. He fears when you live out that truth. He doesn't fear that you read my word. He fears when you wield it as a sword in battle. He doesn't fear your songs of praise. He fears when your praise becomes a fire that burns down his dark strongholds. So, my child, tomorrow when you face a trial, do not run from it. Ask me, Lord, what do you want me to see in this situation? What trap is being set that I need to discern, and what light from heaven is waiting to be revealed? I will answer not always with a thunderous voice, but with an unexpected peace in your heart, with a scripture that suddenly comes alive, with a wisdom that could not have come from yourself. Practice asking me, hearing me, and walking with me in every smallest detail. For when you train yourself in such awareness, you will not merely survive tomorrow, you will overcome. And when darkness descends, do not look for light at the end of the tunnel. Remember that the light is already within you. I am in you, and I, the light of the world, cannot be extinguished, no matter the circumstance, no matter how many lies the enemy hurls. My light in you will shine bright. It will guide not only you but also those around you who are groping for direction in the fog. You are the lamp I have lit, and I did not light it to hide it under a bed, but to place it where it gives light to the entire room. Matthew 5:14-16. Keep your lamp burning. Stay awake. And remember, you are not merely called to survive, you are called to conquer. My beloved child, to stand firm tomorrow, you must first understand what has happened from the very beginning. What you are about to face is not a new tactic. These are ancient traps, recycled through the ages, and they have led countless souls astray. But you do not have to fall for the same schemes. For I am unveiling the enemy's strategy to you not only so that you may recognize it, but so that you may trample it underfoot with the authority I have given you. From the very beginning, in the Garden of Eden, where I created Adam and Eve in purity and perfect love, the devil began his work. But he did not come with open power, nor as a fearsome figure. He came as a serpent, cunning and silent. And the first thing he did was not to threaten or force. He posed a question that seemed harmless. Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? My child, the enemy does not need to outright deny my word. He only needs to twist it slightly. He only needs to make you doubt. A single seed of doubt, planted at the right moment, can bear the fruit of disobedience. He doesn't have to chop down the tree, just rot the root. And when Eve entered into dialogue with the serpent, she stepped into a conversation that should never have taken place. He led her from doubt to debate, and from debate to disobedience. He convinced her that I was withholding something from her, that if she ate the forbidden fruit, her eyes would be opened and she would be like God. It was a lie wrapped in appeal, that obedience limits you, that disobedience liberates you, that my boundaries are burdens rather than protection. And even to this day, he whispers those same lies into the hearts of my children. He says, does God really want you to wait? Is that promise really for you? Do you truly have to live a holy life? He sows questions to crack the trust you place in me, to draw you gradually from the light into the gray zone between right and wrong. Beloved, understand that when you begin to debate what I have already spoken, when you try to rationalize what was clearly revealed. You are stepping into a dangerous realm. The first lie was not about the fruit, it was about my nature. The enemy made Eve believe that I didn't want the best for her, that I was holding something good back. But the truth was, I had given Adam and Eve everything. The one thing I asked them not to touch was the very thing that would destroy them. I set that boundary not to deprive them, but to guard them from death. Yet the enemy made them believe that boundary was unfair. My child, he will try the same with you. He will whisper that what I do not permit is something you deserve, that if you just stepped slightly outside of my lines, you'd be happier, freer. But freedom does not come from doing what you want. True freedom comes from walking in my will, where there is no condemnation, no chains, no fear. As you step into tomorrow, you will encounter such subtle invitations, not always in the form of blatant temptation, but in tiny thoughts that, if left unchecked, will take root. A decision made without prayer, a relationship lacking discernment, a small compromise that seems harmless. But remember, a tiny crack is enough to sink a ship. That is why I want you to live awake and declare my word every day. When the enemy tells you that you need something besides me to be fulfilled, answer, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Psalm 23:1. When he whispers that you will miss out if you don't follow his way, say, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope." Jeremiah 29:11. Strike back with my word. Do not reason with the dark, turn on the light. And my child, when you're confronted with conflicting voices, come to me. Ask me, "Father, what is the truth?" I will speak with clarity, not confusion. I will lead you with overwhelming peace, not with hurried pressure. I never push you into anything. I always invite you to walk in the light. If something makes you anxious, confused, or paniksted, it did not come from me. So when the enemy knocks, do not open. When he stirs a thought, surrender it to me. When he lies, counter with the truth I have planted in your heart. You are not abandoned in this battle. You have my word. You have my spirit. You have divine discernment. Use them all as a lamp for your path, and you will never lose your way. My beloved child, now that you understand how the devil distorts truth to sow doubt, I want you to look at another era in human history, a time when darkness did not only dwell in the hearts of people but covered the whole earth. It was the time of Noah, when mankind lived by its lusts, cared nothing for righteousness, ignored heaven's calls, and refused to believe that judgment would ever come. But I saw it. I was not silent. I spoke. I warned. I called, and only one man listened. Noah, among a corrupt generation, chose to believe me, to walk with me, and to do what the world considered madness. I told him to build an ark, even though rain had never fallen. Imagine it. My child, everyone around lived as though tomorrow was guaranteed, while Noah lived as though judgment could come at any moment. And because he believed, he was saved. But what of the others? They mocked. They scoffed. They ignored. They clung to the false safety that everything was fine. They did not see my wrath, because they did not want to. And when the flood came, every excuse was drowned in silence. My beloved child, The enemy was remarkably successful in that season through a very familiar tactic by making people feel that everything is fine. There's no urgency, nothing alarming, no need to change, no need to repent. He didn't panic them, he delayed them. He didn't make them hate me, he simply made them forget me. And that alone was enough to lead them to destruction. I need you to understand this. The feeling of safety is not always the sign of true peace. The peace that comes from me is not a false sense of calm, but a confident assurance in the midst of chaos. If the enemy cannot get you to rebel against me, he will make you indifferent. He will dull the urgency in your spirit, make you postpone obedience, devalue holiness, and continue living as though tomorrow is guaranteed. But tomorrow is never promised. My child, and the enemy knows it. He only needs you to keep saying, maybe later, until it's too late. Imagine the people in Noah's day living in their apathy. They threw parties, got married, gave in marriage, built houses, planted crops, and life went on as usual. They looked at Noah building the ark with disdain. They saw no signs in the sky, no thunder, no storm. But that did not mean judgment wasn't coming. It did come, and it came suddenly. When the door of the ark closed by my hand, no one could enter. When the rain began to fall, the grace had already passed its open season. And when the waters rose, every mocking laugh turned into a cry for help. Child, the lesson isn't in my anger, it is in my patience. I waited. I gave time. I sent my word, but they refused. And today, the enemy is still convincing many to do the same, refusing me by delaying obedience. He makes people live as if they have a lifetime to repent. But the truth is, no one knows the day or hour. I'm not calling you to live in fear, but to live in awareness, not to see disaster around every corner, but to live each day as someone who knows that life is sacred, fleeting, and a divine opportunity to respond to my call. Tomorrow, you may find yourself among a generation like Noah's, those who mock faith, despise obedience, and disregard my word. But I have not placed you among them to remain silent. I have placed you there as a voice, an ark being built through prayer, through obedience, through spiritual discernment. And even if the world does not understand you, even if they say you are too strict, too zealous, too extreme, still, stand firm, for when the door I shut is finally closed, you will want to be on the inside. And child, do not think that you are alone like Noah, even if you see no one else. I am raising up a faithful generation across the earth, a people who do not bow to compromise, a people who do not sell their souls for convenience, a people who choose to follow me, though the road is narrow and difficult. They are the Noahs of this generation, and you are one of them. So do not let the feeling of everything is still fine lull your spirit to sleep. Examine everything in the light of my word. Live with a vision that sees beyond today. Pray as if someone's soul is being saved through that prayer. Obey as if you have only one chance left to step into your destiny. Because, my beloved, I did not give you breath to waste. I gave you life to glorify my name, to call others into eternal life, and for you to be a witness that grace still abounds. But time is not unlimited. My beloved child. Now I want you to understand another tactic the enemy often uses, and this time, it's not just deception, nor is it the illusion of safety. It's suffering. This is an ancient tactic he once used on a righteous man named Job. And to this day, he still repeats it with many of my faithful ones. When he cannot seduce you with lust, when he cannot slow you down with apathy, he will try to shatter your faith through loss, heartbreak, and pain. Job did not sin. He feared me, and I myself bore witness to his integrity. But the accuser came before me and presented an accusation that you, too, may have been tempted to believe that people only love me because of the blessings they receive. Take everything from him, the accuser said, and he will curse you to your face. That was a lie. It was an arrow shot at the heart of loyalty, and I allowed the test not to prove something to Satan, but so that Job himself would discover that true faith is not built on circumstances, but on the one in whom he believes. My child, there will be moments in life when you feel like you've lost the most precious things, perhaps a loved one, a dream taking shape, or a season full of hope that suddenly vanishes. The enemy will seize that opportunity to hiss into your mind, God has left you. He is punishing you. If he truly loved you, this wouldn't have happened. That is the same voice that surrounded Job in his suffering, and not just from Satan, but from the very people he trusted. Do you remember Job's 3 friends? They came to visit him, but instead of comforting him, they assumed his suffering was proof that he had sinned. They represented a voice that still echoes in the world today, that suffering always equals wrongdoing. But listen to me, child, pain is not always punishment. Sometimes it is the battlefield where faith is forged. The enemy wants you to believe that I've turned my face away. But in truth, it is in the fire that I am closest to you. I am not distant when you hurt. I am holding you in the refining process. Job did not turn away from me, though he lost everything, though he did not understand why. He uttered a sentence that I will remember for all eternity, though he slay me. Yet will I trust him, Job 13:15. That is faith without explanation. That is love beyond blessing. And because of that declaration, Job was not destroyed. On the contrary, that he was restored in double measure, not just in possessions, but in the depth of his soul. He no longer merely heard of me, he saw me with his own eyes, Job 42:5. My beloved, tomorrow may bring trials you never expected. A door may close. A dream may fall apart. A prayer may seem unanswered. But that does not mean I have withdrawn my promise. It does not mean I have forgotten you. Let Job be your proof that faithfulness in suffering holds more weight than all riches. True faith is not fed by miracles. It survives even when the miracle delays. Be alert to the voice that will rise in your head in those moments. The enemy will use what you endure to distort my image in your heart. He will try to paint me as distant, indifferent, and cruel. But hear me, I wept at Lazarus's tomb, even though I knew I would raise him moments later. I am not the God who stands outside suffering. I am the one who carries it. I do not avoid pain. I enter it. On the cross, I bore every punishment so you would never again doubt my love. If tomorrow brings tears, let them fall in faith. If there is loss, let it become the altar where you declare my faithfulness. If accusations rise, let my word be your only response. You have nothing to prove to the world. You only need to cling to me, as Job did. And I promise you, you will not walk away empty-handed. I will restore you not always in the way you expect, but in a way that fills your soul with my glory. My beloved, This is not the time to doubt. This is the time to root yourself deeper, not to retreat, but to stand, not to question, but to trust. The enemy may come with weeping, but I will finish with singing, and you will no longer just hear of me, you will encounter me in the very place that once looked like ruin. Keep your heart steadfast, for what's coming will not merely be restoration, it will be a new vision, a deeper dimension of our relationship. My beloved child, as the light of tomorrow begins to glimmer beyond the veil of night, I want you to awaken not only with open eyes, but with an awakened spirit. Because the battle you are about to enter does not begin on the outside, it starts in your own mind. That is the first place the enemy will strike, because he knows that if he can take your thoughts, he can guide your steps, shape your words, and distort your faith. The enemy does not need to appear in physical form to defeat you. He only needs to plant an idea, a quiet, slow, persistent thought, "You're not enough. God has forgotten you. You are failing. There's no more hope." These seemingly simple phrases, when repeated long enough without being confronted by truth, will take root in your soul like a poisonous seed. But I speak to you today, that is not truth, and anything not from me has no right to remain in your mind. You must understand that thoughts are not just fleeting emotions, they are gateways. They can be bridges to life, or hallways into darkness. That is why I command you to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. 2 Corinthians 10:5. Not to make you rigid, but to protect you from the invisible hooks of the enemy, because if you let a toxic thought repeat without bringing it to me, it will soon become a false belief. And once a false belief is accepted, it will shape your entire life. My beloved child, tomorrow, you may wake up with many things still unfinished, a door yet unopened, a person still unchanged, a dream that remains distant. And it is precisely in that quiet space between expectation and reality that the enemy will attempt to intrude. He doesn't need to scream. He merely whispers with deceptive logic, "Maybe God doesn't want that for you. Maybe you're not worthy. Maybe you've already missed your chance." But I ask you this, who gave him the right to speak that over your life? Who granted him authority to determine what I have chosen for you before the foundations of the world? My dear one, I never said you had to understand everything. I only said, believe. Faith does not mean denying reality. It means seeing beyond it, recognizing the greater truth that I am still working, even when everything appears silent. The enemy wants you to equate my silence with absence. But no, my silence is sometimes the veil hiding a deep work being done in the spiritual realm. I am not compelled to respond immediately. I am teaching you how to live by faith, not by sight. That is why, every morning, you must equip your mind with my word, not because I need to hear you repeat it, but because you need to remember when you declare, "I am chosen by God." Your mind hears it and begins to align with that truth. When you proclaim, "God has a good plan for me," your mind is reshaped by truth rather than circumstance. And when you say, "He is with me and will not leave me," your mind learns to rest instead of worry. This is what the enemy fears most, a child of mine whose mind is awake. He may cast countless lies your way, but if your heart is filled with truth, those lies will find no place to anchor. You may feel weary, but not in despair, pressed, but not crushed, wounded, but not destroyed. For your mind is guarded by a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that comes only from me. Tomorrow, when you begin your day, I want you to rise not as someone waiting to be attacked, but as a proactive warrior. Don't wait for the enemy to strike before drawing your sword. Begin the day with declaration. Open your mouth and say, I do not live by feelings, I live by truth. I do not follow fear, I walk by faith. I do not belong to darkness, I am a child of the light. These are not empty slogans, they are real ammunition in the spiritual battle. Do not forget, the battle on the outside merely reflects the battle within. If you lose in your thoughts, you will lose in your actions. But if you win in your mind, then, no matter the circumstances, your heart will remain steadfast, your soul unshaken, and the enemy cannot steal what I have placed in your hands. Therefore, my beloved, before you prepare for anything tomorrow may bring, prepare your mind. Do not let it drift with the winds of emotion. Anchor it on the solid foundation of my word. Pray, declare, meditate. Let your mind be renewed day by day. I do not need you to be the strongest, I need you to be the most alert. For it is spiritual alertness that allows you to detect the enemy's schemes before they unfold and enables you to stand firm, even when everything else seems to tremble. My beloved child, once your mind is prepared, I need you to recognize this vital truth. The enemy does not always appear as an easily identified threat. He wears no horns, breathes no fire, and does not materialize in the night like a fable. He knows well that you would never open the door to an open adversary. Instead, he comes in disguise. He masks himself in familiar voices, in the glance of someone close, in sweet words that subtly steer you off course. That's why I said, test the spirits to see whether they are from God, 1 John 4:1. Remember, you live in a world that is not neutral. There is a kingdom of light and a kingdom of darkness. Every day, unseen forces clash to gain influence over your thoughts, your behavior, your choices. The enemy does not target your body first, he targets your discernment. Because if you lose your ability to discern, you will no longer know what is true or false. And once you cannot distinguish my voice from the deceiver's whisper, misdirection begins. My child, I once warned my disciples, beware of false prophets, who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. Matthew 7:15. From that day until now, the principle remains unchanged. There are those who bear my name, but their hearts do not belong to me. There are words that sound anointed, but they do not come from the Holy Spirit. There are open doors that seem like mine, but were orchestrated by the enemy to pull you away from your divine trajectory. Tomorrow, opportunities will knock, relationships will approach, advice will be spoken with seemingly good intentions. But I need you to consult me before accepting. Don't let emotion blur your sight. Don't let undiscerning kindness draw you into a sweet trap. Some snares come wrapped in empathy. Some evil words wear the cloak of humility. But if it's not from me, my child, it will eventually lead you astray. Let me tell you about a tactic of the enemy that nearly cost a prophet his life. One of my own, a young prophet, was given a clear instruction. After you complete what I've sent you to do, do not eat or drink in that place. Do not return the same way. But then, an older man claiming to be a prophet approached and said, An angel of God told me you should eat and drink with me. The young prophet believed him, disobeyed my word, and died as a result. See 1 Kings 13. Do you see? Even words spoken in my name must be tested by my spirit. I am not a God of contradiction. If I have spoken something, I will not later negate it with another voice. If anyone advises you to go against my word, no matter how spiritual they claim to be, that counsel is not from me. And if you learn to measure everything against my word, you will avoid countless, seemingly small stumbles with lasting consequences. The enemy may also disguise himself as urgency. He makes you think you must act now. Decide now. Respond now, or you'll miss your chance. But my child, I never rush you. Pressure is not the voice of the Holy Spirit. True wisdom always comes with peace, even when the choice requires courage. If something confuses you, agitates you, or causes you to lose control, pause. Do not take another step unless your heart is led by my peace. Rest is a divine signal the enemy cannot forge. And I also warn you, not all attacks come from without. Some arise from within through unhealed wounds, buried emotions, memories that still bleed within your soul. The enemy will touch that wound not to heal, but to manipulate. He will provoke you to react rather than reflect. He will draw you into relationships built on shared pain rather than divine purpose. But I say to you, I heal the brokenhearted and bind up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. You don't need to run from pain, bring it to me. I am not afraid of your mess. I only ask that you don't let the enemy exploit it. Therefore, my beloved, ask me for spiritual eyes to see beyond appearances. Ask for discernment so you are not drawn to anything apart from me. Ask the Holy Spirit to guide you, for He is the one who leads into all truth. And when you are equipped with heavenly insight, you will not only avoid the traps, you will help others escape them. You will become a voice crying in the wilderness, like John the Baptist, preparing the way for the Lord, making straight paths for Him. Tomorrow, there will be things that seem ordinary but are deeply spiritual. There will be people who appear just to chat but carry distortion. There will be opportunities that seem divine but are detours into compromise. You must discern. You must remain awake. And you must stand firm in what I have taught. Don't chase the noise, listen for my whisper. For it is in quietness and trust that you will find strength. My beloved child, now that you understand the battle begins in the mind, and you know how to recognize the enemy in disguise, I want you to rise and recognize who you are. Not every battle comes to destroy you. Many come to awaken you, not to paralyze you with fear, but to awaken the warrior I called forth in you before you were formed in your mother's womb. I did not create you to live in hiding, to bow your head, or to survive timidly in the shadows of this world. I called you out of obscurity to step into your true identity, chosen, called, anointed, and equipped. You are not just a believer. You are a warrior in the kingdom of light. And the enemy trembles each time you realize it. Because when you know who you are, nothing can rule over you but me. Beloved, every day you live is an opportunity to put on the spiritual armor of light. I have not given you weapons of the flesh, but weapons the world cannot comprehend. Because they do not strike flesh, they strike down invisible strongholds, doubt, fear, shame, accusation, laziness, delay, compromise. These strongholds are not made of brick and stone, but of lies that have lingered too long in your heart. But the weapons I give you, my word, praise, prayer, obedience, and the living presence of my Spirit have the power to demolish every fortress. Tomorrow, as you step out the door, wear that armor as part of your very being. Gird your waist with truth, for if you do not walk in truth, you will be pulled off the path I designed. Put on the breastplate of righteousness, for the enemy will accuse you every time you stumble. But my righteousness will shield you from every arrow. Put on the shoes of readiness that come from the gospel, for you are not called to stand still, but to advance, to preach, to carry my light into places where no one else dares to go. Take up the shield of faith, for tomorrow will bring surprises. But when you lift that shield, every fiery arrow will be extinguished by the fire of faith. Wear the helmet of salvation, for if your mind is not guarded by salvation, the enemy will sneak in with accusation and condemnation. And finally, my child, draw the sword of the Spirit, which is my word, not only to defend, but to strike back. Every time you declare my word, every time you refuse to be silent in the face of lies, you shake the darkness. I do not send you alone. I send angels ahead of you. I station them around you. I place your enemies beneath your feet, not because you are strong enough, but because I have overcome. But what I need from you is not perfection, I need decision. Decide you will not look back. Decide that even if tomorrow is difficult, you will move forward. Decide that even when you see nothing ahead, you will still believe in me. That daily decision will keep you on the path I ordained and make you unshakable in your divine purpose. When the enemy whispers that you are too small, remind him of the one within you who brought Goliath down by the hand of a shepherd boy. When he says, "You've made too many mistakes," remind him that I chose Peter, who denied me 3 times, to build my church. When he says you are not good enough, remind him that no one is chosen for being good enough, but because I am faithful enough to finish what I've begun. And when he says you are too tired to go on, lift your eyes and remind him, he gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Isaiah 40:29. My beloved child, tomorrow will come with things you cannot foresee, but it will also carry divine opportunities the enemy cannot prevent. I have opened a door for you that no one can shut, but you must walk through it. I have sent angels ahead of you, but you must advance. I have declared you victorious, but you must go to battle in my name. Do not fear what you cannot yet see. Do not retreat before the unknown, for I am already there before you, around you, within you, and for you. Top of form, bottom of form, rise up. My child, step into the new day as one who has been called. Act like someone who knows they carry a mission from heaven, and live with the posture of one who does not bow to the darkness, but lifts their head high in the light. For that light does not come from you, but from me, the one who lives within you and will never leave you. My beloved child, as you enter tomorrow's battlefield, there is one thing I need you to pay special attention to: the voice. Not every voice you hear is from me. Some voices rise from the fear within you. Others come from public opinion, from societal pressure, from unhealed memories. Some voices come from the spiritual realm, but not from heaven. And if you do not learn to discern which voice is mine, the enemy will exploit that ambiguity to lead you astray. I know you long to hear my voice. I know you've prayed. Lord, speak to me. But my child, when I speak, I don't always use thunder or a booming voice. More often, I speak through deep peace, through inner confirmation, through a living verse that suddenly touches your heart like fire. Sometimes I speak in silence. Sometimes I don't answer with words, but through an open door or a door that closes tightly. You don't need to hear with physical ears. You need to recognize in the spirit, for my voice is not merely broadcast. It is received in intimacy. The enemy knows this. He knows that if you hear my voice clearly, you'll be guided. You'll stay on course. You'll be strong. So he tries to create interference. He produces noise. He confuses your thoughts. He makes you follow feelings rather than leading. He causes you to doubt your own discernment. He whispers, maybe that's not God. Maybe you're imagining things. Maybe you're wrong. And if you believe those words, you will begin to fall silent when I call you to act, or stop moving when I'm urging you forward. Beloved one, I say to you, my voice is clear. I do not confuse thee. I do not contradict. If you are unsure, return to my word. My word is the unchanging standard. If what you hear leads you into obedience, humility, holiness, and love, that is me. If it drives you into fear, doubt, pride, or selfishness, that is not me. I do not cause panic, nor do I flatter you into escaping what is right. I am the one who teaches, convicts, and at times corrects, but always with peace, never with condemnation. Tomorrow, when you face a choice, you will hear many streams of thought. Some will come from your soul where longing, wounds, and desires operate. Some will come from the enemy, disguised as reasonable logic, and some will come from me, gentle, yet firm. Don't just listen to the loudest voice. Pay attention to the one with true authority. Quiet your soul. Turn off the noise. Step away from the crowd if needed. Sometimes, you need to be alone with me to hear what heaven is speaking through the noise of the world. Did you know that Elijah once thought I would speak in the windstorm, in the earthquake, in the fire, but I came to him in a still small voice? 1 Kings 19:11-12. My voice doesn't have to be loud, because my presence is powerful enough. I don't need to shout to get your attention. I want you to choose to listen. And when you learn the art of stillness before me, you will no longer be swept away by the noise of the world. When everything else is chaotic, you will keep clarity in your mind, because you will know my voice is different. It reminds your heart of your true identity, your divine mission, and my unchanging love. My dear child, do not let my silence cause you to doubt. Do not let the absence of a word lead you to follow a different voice. I have a timing, and sometimes silence is a lesson for you to practice trust without immediate confirmation. You do not live by prophecy, you live by my word. And if I have already spoken something, you don't need to hear it again to take a step. Obedience does not always require further confirmation. Sometimes, what you need is courage to walk in what you already know. The enemy will try to delay you by demanding more signs. He will keep you from ever feeling certain enough. But I say this, faith is not about perfect feelings. It is action based on the knowledge that I am faithful. If you wait until you are completely sure, you will miss miraculous steps. But if you walk by faith, I will clarify each step as you move forward. I do not lead from a distance. I guide with every step you take. So tomorrow, you don't get swept up by the voices that confuse you. Find a quiet place. Bring every thought captive to me. Learn to be silent within, so you can hear what heaven is saying. I never stop speaking. The question is whether you are willing to listen. And when you hear my voice, move forward, even trembling, because what matters is not how sure you feel, but how sure you are of the one who spoke. My beloved child, now that you've been taught to discern the true voice among countless whispers, I need you to take a deeper step to recognize the false crossroads. Because the enemy doesn't just lie through whispers, he sets up scenarios that look spiritual, favorable, or convincing, to lead you off the path I've ordained. He knows that if he uses blatant evil, you'll be cautious. So he disguises error in garments that look like my leading child. Never judge the rightness of something by the outward appearance of opportunity. Just because a door opens doesn't mean I opened it. Just because a door closes doesn't mean I shut it. Just because it's easy doesn't mean I've permitted it. And just because it's hard doesn't mean I'm opposing it. My guidance isn't based on convenience. It's rooted in eternal purpose. Some doors look miraculous, but are traps. Some people smile, but carry division. Some jobs seem perfect, but are designed to pull you out of your spiritual influence. Tomorrow, you may stand at a crossroad where everything outward says, this direction makes sense. Your emotions may align. Everyone around may agree. But I ask you, did you truly ask me, or did you just seek confirmation for what you already wanted? Never use the consensus of the crowd as a substitute for the leading of the Spirit. The same crowd that shouted, "Hosanna to my son," one day cried, "Crucify him," days later. Human hearts change. Emotions shift. But my word stands forever. The enemy knows this well. If he cannot stop your movement, he will try to redirect it. He will construct a crossroad that appears to be my way. He will make it glow with emotion, drip with sweet invitations, and seem logical and stable. But if you do not discern, if you don't pause and ask, Lord, are you here? You may walk a journey that begins like mine but ends with no life. Remember the story of Lot, who chose the fertile plains near Sodom because he saw that it was like the garden of the Lord, Genesis 13:10. But what looked like the garden of God was not my blessing. In that place, he lost his home, his honor, and his wife. Meanwhile, Abraham, who didn't choose the easy portion but stayed where I appointed him, became the father of many nations. The hard road isn't always wrong, and the easy road isn't always right. My child, I've given you the power to choose, but I do not leave you to choose alone. My Spirit lives in you to guide, intervene, and warn. You may not see flashing red lights, but if your heart starts to feel unsettled, if your peace pulls back, if a still small voice begins to question, stop. I don't always shout when you stray, but I will trouble your spirit. That is a signal. That is my gentle knock. And my child, do not assume I will always bend to your preferences. I am not the one who wounds your heart to teach you a lesson. But I am a father, and a good father will not let you walk into death simply because it resembles life. I will intervene. I will hesitate your steps. I will do whatever is necessary to pull you out of a trap dressed in glitter. But you must cooperate. You must want to listen. You must be willing to say, even if I've planned it all out, If you are not in it, I am willing to let it go. Tomorrow, test every crossroad with 3 things. 1. My word, does it align? 2. My spirit, do you have peace? 3. The outcome, does it draw you closer to me? Or just offer success at the cost of intimacy? If something makes you prosper outwardly but grow cold inwardly, the price is too high. I do not want you to lose your inner life just to appear successful on the outside. Beloved, when you choose the right road, even when it's not convenient, heaven records it. When you refuse to walk a false path, even though everyone else is going there, I will strengthen you. And it is in those moments when you choose according to the Spirit and not by sight that you will grow in authority. Discernment not only protects you, it anoints you. When you choose rightly, I can entrust you with more, because you are not led by false light, but by the true light. So don't rush into what seems logical. Don't get overly excited by what everyone agrees on. Wait. Ask me. Be willing to turn away from what's good if I haven't called you into it. You were not created to chase imitation light. You were born to walk in the true light. And when you walk in that light, though the road may be narrow, you will not stumble, for I will walk with you, lead you rightly, and protect you from every trap masked in goodness. When you face crossroads that bear a false resemblance of truth, I don't just want you to recognize them, I want you to remain faithful amidst difficult choices. For discernment is only the beginning. Endurance in right choices proves that you truly live for me, not for emotion or circumstance. At the crossroads of the soul where desire, will, and calling collide, I need you to stop and ask, what brings the most glory to my Father? You may be permitted to do a thing, but is it truly beneficial for your soul? You may be able to open a door, but am I truly within it? You may feel ease, but does your heart still burn with holy fear? Many things may seem harmless to the world, but they draw you away from me little by little, like a boat drifting silently from shore for lack of an anchor. The enemy will not always strike with storms. He will use calm waters to quietly pull you away. Therefore, I call you to remain faithful, not just in action, but in thought, in motive, and in every silent choice. When no one is watching, when no one is checking, when no one is clapping or agreeing, in those moments, it's just you and me. And I am watching not to condemn, but to seek a sincere heart. A faithful child who obeys not for reward, not out of fear, but out of true love for me. Tomorrow, you may stand where many have fallen for lack of faithfulness. You may have to say no to something your heart wants, but my spirit withdraws from. You may be misunderstood, labeled rigid, outdated, too spiritual. But child, I too was called possessed, blasphemer, lawbreaker. If the master was treated this way, can the servant expect any less? And if you remain faithful in the smallest things, I will use you for things far greater than you can imagine. Learn from men like Joseph. When temptation knocked, when no one was watching and no one would stop him, he could have given in to its seduction. But he said, "How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" Genesis 39:9. That was faithfulness not born from law, but from living relationship. He wasn't merely afraid of being caught, he feared grieving me. And I, the one who sees in secret, lifted him out of the prison and placed him on the throne. For faithfulness is the key that opens the door to divine destiny. My child, the testing of faithfulness does not only occur when you must choose between right and wrong, but when you must choose between what is good and what is better, between what aligns with your soul and what aligns with your calling. Some things are not sinful, but if you pursue them, they will delay your mission. Some relationships are not wrong, but they will pull you out of the spiritual rhythm I have set. Some careers may promise fame, yet they will dry your soul from my presence. And do you know what holds you back from these distractions? It is not fear, it is love. True love keeps your heart from being given to anything other than me. True love compels you to surrender what is reasonable to take hold of what is spiritual. True love leads you to obey even when there is no visible result. And I, who sees the motives behind every action, will reward the faithfulness that flows from love, not obligation. Tomorrow, if you are chosen, choose what pleases me. If you are rejected, rest in the assurance that I have not rejected you. If you see others progressing faster, succeeding with less resistance, take heart, for I am building something enduring in you. Rapid success is not always a sign of blessing. Some flowers bloom early, only to wither quickly. But the tree I plant with patience will bear fruit in its season, will not wither, and will never be in vain. Mark this in your spirit. I never forget your faithful choices. Every time you say no to the convenient to say yes to the righteous, heaven records it. Every time you close a door with tears in your eyes to preserve holiness, I lift your heart with peace that this world cannot offer. Every time you walk alone to avoid compromise, I walk beside you and prepare the road ahead. For your path is not defined by the approval of man, but by the word I have spoken over your life. Therefore, do not merely discern, guard your heart. Do not only see the snare, walk far from it. Do not stop only out of fear, choose because of love. For it is in those moments when no one sees, no one praises, that I am watching and preparing things for you beyond what you could ever imagine. Faithfulness will pave the way to destiny. Faithfulness will sustain you in the storm. And faithfulness will shape you into the one I can entrust with something great from heaven. My beloved child, until now you have been taught to stay awake, to discern, to be faithful and steadfast. But now, I desire to take you into a deeper realm, the realm of walking not by sight. There will be days when my presence is tangible, confirmations abound, and you can easily say, "The Lord is surely with me." But there will also be days when no voice is heard, no feeling supports you, no sign confirms. Days when you open your eyes and see nothing but fog. And I tell you the truth, those are the days I want your faith to grow. Beloved, faith is not measured by what you see, but by how you walk when you see nothing. Many of my children start strong but grow weary when darkness surrounds them. They do not renounce me, but they stop moving because they no longer feel certain. But I did not call you to live by the certainty of emotions. I called you to live by trust in my character, for I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. Hebrews 13:8. Peter once saw me walking on water. At first, he didn't recognize me, because the figure was shrouded in the night mist. But when he heard my voice, he cried out, "Lord, if it is you, tell me to come to you on the water." And I said, "Come." He walked on waves, through wind, beyond logic and survival instinct. And he did walk. He truly walked on water. defying the impossible, sustained by one word from me. Only when he took his eyes off me and looked at the storm did doubt flood in, and he began to sink. But even then, as he cried out, "Lord, save me," I immediately reached out my hand and caught him. Matthew 14:28-31. My child, there will be moments in your spiritual journey when I say, "Come," but you cannot see the other shore. All you may see is water, wind, and uncertainty. But in that moment, one step becomes a mighty act in eternity. The enemy will call you foolish, will say you have no assurance, that you're risking your future for something unclear. But I say to you, one word from me is enough to keep you standing in a place where others would drown. I don't need dry land for you to walk. I will hold you where nothing else can. Tomorrow might be the day I call you to walk like that. I may not say much. I may not show you the full plan. I may simply say one thing: trust me. And at that threshold, you will have to decide, either step out on my word or retreat to safety where there is no longer life. You cannot hold on to safety and obedience at the same time. Sometimes, you must let go of what you understand to grasp what I am leading you into. Child, true faith is not blind risk. True faith is opening your eyes, looking straight into the invisible, and walking because you know the one who called you is faithful. Even Abraham did not know where he was going. Yet he went, and I credited it to him as righteousness. Hebrews 11:8. Had he waited for clarity, he would never have left his land. And if you wait for everything to be certain, you will miss the land I promised. And I know you are not always strong. I do not expect you to walk with your chest out and wind in your hair. I only need you to step. One trembling step of obedience is worth more than 1,000 well-crafted plans never carried out. I never chose perfect people. I chose those who believed that though they were imperfect, I am unfailing, and so they walked, one step at a time, and each step was recorded in heaven's scroll. My beloved, do not be afraid if tomorrow brings only one word and nothing else. Don't wait for full clarity to call it faith. If I have spoken, that word is your foundation. If I have said, "Come," the waters will hold you. If I have extended my hand, my arm will sustain you. And if you step and begin to sink, do not fear. Cry out, for I am always closer than you think. Your fall does not disappoint me, but refusing to step because of fear, that is what hinders the miracle. So, if tomorrow you have only one thing, my voice, consider it enough. Fix your eyes on me, not the waves. Keep your gaze on the one who called you, not your circumstances. And remember, you were not called to be safe. You were called to be faithful. And the faithful will see my glory not on the shore, but among the waves they dared to walk into, believing that I will never let them sink. Child, I know you carry desires you have lifted to me many times, things you believe please me, dreams that felt within reach only to slip away. I know that feeling. I see the silent tears in the night, the unspoken questions, the hush in your soul as you wonder, Lord, do you still remember the promise, or have I been forgotten? But listen closely. Delay is not denial. My timing does not match yours, but it is always perfect. I am never rushed, yet I am never late, not as man defines delay. 2 Peter 3:9. I work in the silence, and while you think nothing is happening, heaven is moving. My hand is arranging, preparing, shielding you from things you cannot yet perceive. Some promises I've spoken over you still stand unchanged. But I don't just want to give you what you've asked for. I want you mature enough to carry it without being mastered by it. If you receive a blessing too early, it could lead you away from your mission. If you enter a door at the wrong time, it may become a burden instead of a blessing. That's why I delay, not because you're not good enough, but because I love you enough to let me, not timing, drive your destiny. I promised Abraham a lineage as numerous as the stars. Yet I made him and Sarah wait until nature was no longer an option, not to torment them, but to show that miracles come not from flesh, but from me. I let Joseph be forgotten in prison 2 more years after helping Pharaoh's cupbearer because his release was not to come from man, but from the throne by my own hand. When the time came, Joseph was not just released, he was exalted in a single day. Child, what I am doing in the silent season is not meaningless. I am building faith, endurance, humility, and trust in you. I am teaching you that your worth is not in how fast you get something, but in how steady you remain when nothing changes. You are not falling behind. You are being refined. Do not let delay make you doubt, my love. Do not let the enemy whisper that I've changed my mind. He is a liar from the beginning. He doesn't know my timing. He doesn't understand my plan. And he fears your waiting because the one who endures cannot be defeated. Tomorrow, you may see something still unchanged, a door unopened, a prayer unanswered, a loved one yet to return, a dream still unfulfilled. But I ask you, will you look at what hasn't happened? Or will you look at the one who promised? Will you define hope by circumstance or by my name? Don't let prolonged silence weaken your prayers, for it is when no answer comes that your prayers are most precious. Remember those in Scripture who waited. Moses waited 40 years in the desert before leading his people. David waited over a decade after being anointed before taking the throne. Elisha followed Elijah for years before receiving the prophetic mantle. And Jesus, my beloved Son, lived 30 years in obscurity before a 3-year ministry that changed the world. No one was forgotten. Each one was prepared. And true preparation always takes time. So let me remind you, you are not late. You are not left behind. You are being nurtured in the shadows. So when the light comes, you will stand firm. Unshaken. Delay is not proof. I've forgotten the promise. It's evidence that I prize perfection and timing over rushed results. And what I begin, I will complete. No word from my mouth will return void. If your heart grows still from weariness in the waiting, lift your head. Say to me, Lord, I still believe. That alone stirs heaven. Let this waiting be where you sing songs of faith in the land not yet seen. Let your endurance speak in the spirit realm. I don't live by speed. I live by certainty in the one who called me. And I, the God of perfect timing, will arrive not early, not late, but exactly right. My beloved child, I did not call you to live a life of spiritual mediocrity. I have called you to live in abundance, not in a quiet and prolonged disappointment. But to enter into that, you must learn how to stand firm when you see nothing. You must learn to sing when there is no solution, to pray when there is no miracle, to give when your hands are still empty, and to love when you receive nothing in return. These actions are not small. My child, They are a resounding spiritual declaration. My heart has decided to trust God, not because of circumstances, but because He is the one I love. If the great, I did not say you must always be strong, but I do want you to always be honest. When you are tired, don't hide. Say to me, Lord, I am weak. When you doubt, don't pretend to be tough. Say to me, please help my unbelief. I am the Father who does not scold when you falter. I am the one who reached out to Peter when he was sinking in the waves. I am the one who gave bread to Elijah when he lay under the broom tree, asking to die because he was too exhausted. I do not abandon you when you are weary. On the contrary, it is in your weariness that I meet you, if you do not bury your pain in silence, but lift it up to me with a sincere groan. My child, remember this: standing firm does not mean never trembling. Standing firm means clinging to me, even when your legs want to give way, and when you choose to hold on to my word, when you remain in holiness, though you see no reward, when you stay faithful even with no spotlight. I, the God of light, I am recording it all in my book of remembrance. Not a single tear of yours is forgotten. Not a single prayer falls into the void. Every sigh, every moment you restrain yourself, every decision to do right, when ease beckons, these are the evidences that you are mine. Tomorrow may not bring an earth-shaking miracle, but what I need you to prepare is not excitement, but steadfastness. The enemy is not afraid of faith that blazes for one festival day. He fears the faith that holds steady through each weary morning. When you rise to pray while your mind is still foggy, when you read my word though your heart is still full of questions, when you choose to forgive again though no one seems to change, that is true faith, and that is what makes the enemy tremble. Because he knows you are the kind of person that darkness cannot extinguish. My beloved, every day you stand firm is a day I draw closer. Every moment you choose to believe is a moment heaven brushes earth in your heart. Weariness is real, but my grace is stronger. When you are weak, I strengthen. When you are discouraged, I encourage. When you fall, I lift you up. And when you feel you've gone too far and arrived nowhere, I will show you. It was in the very stretch you thought was meaningless that I was quietly building a shelter in your soul, a place the enemy cannot reach. So, my child, do not let go. Keep standing. You don't need to shout. You just need not collapse within. Keep believing. Even if you must close your eyes not to see the things that discourage you, I am there, closer than ever. And your reward is coming, not only the fulfillment of the promise, but the person you are becoming while you wait, strong, deep, enduring, and radiant in glory. My beloved child, when the first light of dawn touches your eyes, something spiritual has already begun before you utter a single prayer. The moment you awaken, the spiritual realm is in motion. My child, you must understand this. The enemy of your soul never sleeps. He does not wait for you to be ready, does not announce his attacks. The daily spiritual battle does not begin with a gunshot, but with thoughts, attitudes, and choices that seem harmless. And if you are not watchful, he will creep in through the smallest cracks you ignore. That is why I say to you today, you cannot enter a new day with a lax mind. Do not just wake up and tend to worldly matters. Wake up and wage war. Open your eyes in spiritual awareness. Pray before you check your phone. Put on the armor of righteousness before you put on office clothes. Drink living water before your morning coffee. Because the enemy knows that if he can blur your spiritual vision in the first 5 minutes of the day, he can steer your next 24 hours to his liking. Remember the Garden of Eden. The enemy did not come with a roar, but with a question. Did God really say? He did not shove Eve off God's path with a command, but with sweet suspicion. And that's how he comes to you every morning, not with threats, but with subtle compromises. Just a little is fine. This time won't hurt. You already prayed yesterday. But my child, when you allow spiritual laziness to cloud your morning, you have already surrendered your day into someone else's hands. And look at Noah's time. People were still eating, drinking, marrying. No one did evil blatantly, but hearts were filled with violence, pride, and disregard for my voice. So it is today. People still live as normal, but spiritual numbness has blanketed them, and if you do not separate yourself through holiness, you will slowly dissolve into the crowd without knowing you're sinking. The enemy doesn't need to kill you. He only needs to make you spiritually ineffective, and that is enough for his victory. Do you remember Job, my beloved, when he was a righteous man, worshiping me faithfully? The enemy didn't first come to steal his money, but to break his faith. He knew if he could get Job's faith, everything else would crumble. And so it is today. The enemy doesn't need you to leave the church, just to attend with a heart void of fire. He doesn't need you to deny me with your mouth, just to stop praying with faith. For having a form of godliness, but denying its power, 2 Timothy 3-5, is the devil's favorite offering. I say to you, do not be naive. Do not think the battle only rages when major crises hit. In truth, the enemy often strikes hardest when everything seems stable, for it is when you relax that he prowls. Like a roaring lion, he circles around, seeking a crack in your wall. It might be a discouraging thought you allow to linger, a careless joke you don't check, a self-pitying feeling you don't surrender to me, and those small stones will gradually chip away at your faith if you are not awake. But my child, do not be afraid, for I not only warn you of the battle, I equip you. I do not send you into the field unarmed. I have given you the sword of the Spirit, which is my word. I have clothed you with the breastplate of righteousness, which is a life of integrity. I have crowned your head with the helmet of salvation, which affirms you belong to me. I have fitted your feet with the gospel of peace, which guides every step, but you must wear them. You must decide not to walk out the door unless you have first stepped into the secret place with me. My child, tomorrow the enemy will knock again. He will stir up old wounds, reignite unhealed hurts, and make you question what I have spoken. He will parade those who appear to be blessed while you are still waiting. But when that happens, remember, it is not truth, it is a tactic. And tactics can be broken only when you recognize them. Respond to his lies with my truth. Say, I live not by sight, but by faith. Stand firm, not in your strength, but in mine working through you. Beloved one, the battle of tomorrow does not require your perfection. It only requires your awareness. You don't need answers for everything. Just hold on to the one who is the answer. Wake up with a ready heart, a praising mouth, a scripture-filled mind, and a heart with no room for compromise. Then, Whether tomorrow brings storms or stillness, you will overcome, for you are not fighting alone. I, the Lord of Heaven's armies, will fight beside you. My child, I know there are mornings when you wake and feel everything is too quiet. No strange dreams, no clear signs, no rising emotions, just another ordinary, cold, empty day. And within you rises the question, Lord, are you still here? But my beloved, listen closely to what I say today. Never let silence cause you to doubt my presence. Never let the absence of feeling convince you that I've left. For it is in that stillness that I am doing the greatest works within your soul. Remember, Job was never warned when angels and demons contended over his soul in heaven. On earth, all he saw was loss, sickness, betrayal. But in the unseen realm, a heavenly trial was unfolding. And I myself had placed my trust in Job. Have you considered my servant Job? Job 1-8. Do you know that sometimes, precisely because I trust your faith, you are chosen to walk through a season of silence, not for punishment, but for glory? Not because I've forgotten you, but because I believe your faith does not require feelings to stand firm. When you see no miracle, hear no voice, feel nothing, that is when you walk by the purest form of faith, not influenced by environment, not driven by emotion, but soaked in absolute obedience. And that is what terrifies the enemy. For it is common for someone to sing when blessed, but a soul who sings while broken is an instrument of heaven. I once let Joseph sit in prison for years with no new promise, no defense, no encouragement. Yet within those four walls, I was shaping him to carry the face of deliverance for an entire people. I let him wait, for my promise does not arrive early, nor late, but exactly on the day appointed by my sovereign hand. And so it is with you. I am not late. I am waiting for the greater thing to be formed within you before I release what I've prepared outside of you. My beloved, in tomorrow's battle, there will be moments when no one understands you. Moments when prayers seem to bounce off walls. Moments when you give and still lack. Moments when you stand alone in your secret place, hands lifted in tears, feeling no hand in return. But even then, do not stop, because if you stop, you may never know that just one more step would open the gate, one more hour of faithfulness, and the miracle would come. And if you quit for a fleeting feeling, you forfeit the reward reserved for the unwearied. My child, the enemy will use silence to sow doubt. He will whisper, if God loves you, why would he leave you alone? But answer him with my word, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm Asarim Vishlosh Arba. It is in the valley, not on the mountaintop, that David felt me closest. And it is in the days no one sees you pray, no one knows you fast, no one hears your sighs, that I record every detail. And on the day of unveiling, I will reward you before all. Top of form, do not measure your spiritual success by what your eyes can see. Do not evaluate your faith by the number of supporters, by encouraging words, or by visible signs and wonders. Measure it by your consistency in the silence. Measure it by the way you still offer time for worship even when your heart is heavy. Measure it by your decision not to compromise, even when you hunger for both physical and emotional fulfillment, because you are building your house upon the rock, not on the sand. and that house will not be swept away when the winds of doubt or the storms of loneliness blow. My child, I know there are moments when you want to scream, "Lord, I can't take this anymore," and I do not condemn you. I do not rebuke you for your weakness. On the contrary, it is precisely in the moments when you can no longer hide your tears that I draw near to wipe them away. Do you think I am distant just because you cannot feel me? No. I have never left you. My silent footsteps still walk beside you. My unspoken words continue to sow seeds of life into your soul. So do not give up. Remember, silence does not mean absence. Sometimes, stillness is a sign that heaven is preparing to move. Like a breath held before the thunder, like the sun hidden behind the clouds just before it bursts forth, I do not remain silent to punish you, but to mature you in the darkness where your faith no longer depends on outward light, but springs from the radiance within. My beloved, I have spoken to you from the beginning to the end. Every warning I have given, every secret I have revealed, every scheme of the enemy I have exposed, none of it was meant to frighten you, but to awaken you and lead you into the position prepared for you. For you are no longer a child in spirit. You are no longer a passive soul being swept along by life. Now, you are my warrior, one who bears my seal on your forehead and my light in your heart, and you can no longer live as though you do not know. The enemy has been unmasked, and the battle will not wait for you to be ready. It is already taking place right now in your mind, in your environment, and in every decision you make each day. You cannot afford to delay. You cannot say, "One day I'll pray more deeply," or "When it's convenient, I'll follow the call," because the devil does not wait. Darkness does not pause, and if you do not rise, you will be swept away without even realizing it. I speak to you now. This is the time. This is the trumpet call. This is the hour of awakening. No more retreating. No more hesitating. No more letting emotions govern your soul. You must reclaim the spiritual territory that was lost. You must trample on the lies the enemy has planted over the years. You must proclaim the truth I have engraved upon your soul, that you are chosen, that you are not abandoned, that I have placed power in your hands to bind the enemy and open the gates to the things of heaven. My child, do you know what happens when an enlightened soul steps into its rightful place? The heavens move, angels are dispatched, chains fall, doors open, and demons tremble, because they know nothing is more dangerous than someone who knows who they are in Christ. Nothing is more formidable than one who does not wait for circumstances to change before walking in the authority already given. And you, my child, you are that one. If only you will stand up. But I am not calling you to rise by your own strength. I am not asking you to be stronger than you can be. I am simply asking you to give me everything. Hold nothing back. Do not cling to reasonable excuses for your spiritual delay. Do not use the wounds of the past or the uncertainties of the present as your shield. I did not choose you because you met the qualifications. I chose you because I have a plan. And if you respond, I, myself, will turn your weakness into strength, your doubts into prophecy, and your brokenness into a pillar that others may lean on. You may say, "But I don't know where to begin." I say to you, begin with surrender. Go into the secret place. Kneel, not with polished words, but with a sincere heart. Cry if you must, but don't hide anymore. Don't pretend to be strong. Tell me everything you fear, everything you doubt, everything that has disappointed you. Then let me touch your heart, and in that place, I will open my mouth, speak my word, breathe my life, and give my command. And when you emerge from that secret place, do not let your face remain downcast. Do not walk as if the burden still rests on your shoulders. Walk like one who has just been handed a sword and armor. Step forward like one who has been affirmed by heaven. Act as though angels are guarding your path, because that is the truth. You do not walk alone. You are covered by my presence, escorted by a spiritual army, and backed by the unshakable plan of the Almighty. Now, my child, from this moment on, do not look back. Do not dwell on what was lost, who left, or what opportunities passed by. The past does not define your future. My word determines what comes next. And my word is this: behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. I am renewing you. I am rebuilding the foundation. I am restoring what the enemy has ravaged. And if you keep moving forward, everything will be restored, not in the old way, but in the way of the kingdom. My beloved, the end of this journey is not weariness, but glory, not disappointment, but victory. You are not merely forgiven, you are anointed. You have not only been pulled from the pit, you have been set upon the rock. You have not only been saved, you have been sent. So do not limit yourself by your weakness. Stretch into your calling. Proclaim what I have spoken. Live each day like a watchman on the wall, knowing when the enemy approaches, and ready to awaken the house when the trumpet sounds. Now, I place this seal upon your heart from today on. The battle is no longer something you avoid. It is the very place where you will manifest my glory. Go and live as one who is sent. Speak and declare as one with authority. Love as one who has been forgiven. And above all, never forget, I am still fighting with you. You and I, we will walk together in victory and glory. Thank you for listening to today's message. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so that together we may receive the living words, build unshakable faith, and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.